Hey everyone, I just got this amazing tag by Duvet des Devours, and I'm going to go ahead and put her link down in the description. Thank you so much for the tag because I love these things. And this is one of the coolest tags that I've ever seen. This is the sick/ill book tag. And basically, you can check out in the description, but it takes sicknesses or diseases and turns them into questions for your books. The first one is diabetes, and so basically it's a book that you thought was just too sweet. Now, since I don't read a whole lot of romance novels or anything like that, I chose this book. The Tale of Despereaux is probably the sweetest book that I've ever read, basically because this little mouse falls in love with a princess, and to be honest, that's what the whole book is about. It's a really fantastic book, though. It's just the mouse is very overly sweet when it comes to talking about his love, the princess. Number 2 is Chickenpox, a book that you've read once but you will never read again. And that book, I think all of you already know what I'm going to pick, is The Wind Through the Keyhole by Stephen King. I just didn't like this book, and there's really nothing more to say about that. Number 3 is Influenza, so it's a book that spreads like a virus. The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. This book is fantastic, and I guarantee you once you start reading it, you won't be able to stop. I got through this thing in like 2 or 3 days, and that's quick for me because I'm constantly doing other things while I'm reading a book. Like I stop for hours at a time to do other things, and so for me to be able to get through this that quick is pretty great because it's just such a good story, and I think everybody should read it at least once, even if it's not your genre. Number 4 is The Cycle, and it's a book that you read every month, year, however often. You just read this book over and over, and that book is Because of Winn-Dixie by Kate DeCamillo, and I actually have her other book, The Tale of Despereaux, was in this tag too, but this book is just fantastic. It's not hard to get through, it's kind of short, written for basically anyone and everyone, so it's definitely one that you can pick up and get through in a matter of hours, and I love this book. Favorite book ever. Number 5 is Insomnia, a book that kept you up all night, and to tell the truth, this book was one of the only books that I just could not stop reading, and that book is Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. This book is fantastic. I couldn't stop reading it. Once I started reading it pretty late one night, about 1 o'clock on my Kindle. I sent a sample to it from Amazon because the book, I'd ordered it and I was like, it's not going to be here, and it's for a couple more days, so I might as well start reading this thing. So I read the sample, and ever since then, I was hooked on this thing. It is amazing, and I lost so much sleep over this thing. The next one is Amnesia. It's a book that you forgot you read, and this one's also pretty easy for me because I read this one for school. I was very excited because the author has the same name that I do, but it was so disappointing. That book is A Death in the Family by James Agee. My name is obviously James Agee, but this guy died a long time ago, and I was so excited to read some of his work. I could barely get through this. Once I did, stuck it up in my closet, didn't even want it out on my bookshelf because it's such a crappy book, and I forgot until this tag that I even owned the thing. So this is definitely a book I forgot I read. The next sickness is Asthma, and that is a book that took your breath away, and this one a lot of people haven't heard of, but it is another book that everyone should read. The Looking Glass Wars by Frank Bador. Now, this is a trilogy. I haven't finished the last one, and in fact I started it like a year ago and I just kind of forgot to finish it because I got so many books stacked up. But this book, if you are any sort of fan of sci-fi or Alice in Wonderland, this takes it to a whole new level. The characters are fantastic. They're described perfectly, and it's just a crazy adventure. Oh, it's got pictures in it. I'll show you some of those. Didn't even know those were in there. Such a good book, though. Like, the Mad Hatter is like a bodyguard agent type thing, and he's Hatter Madigan in the book. And then you've got, like, the Cheshire Cat is an assassin. It's so cool. Like, if you've never read this book, read it and you'll be hooked. The next one is Malnutrition, and it's a book that lacked food for thought. Interworld by Neil Gaiman and Michael Reeves. Now, while I love all of Neil Gaiman's work, and this is not an exception, I do sort of like this book. The descriptions in this book were so bland and boring that, it was a pretty weird type of book because you've got like these interdimensional objects and stuff, but they explain them so cheesy that it just didn't seem like they had actually sat down and thought about, hey, what would be a good way to describe this? Instead, let's describe this yellow circular thing that changes colors as a bubble. I mean, I guess, but it just, for me, it lacked food for thought. And finally, we've got Travel Sickness, and this is a book that took you on a journey through time and space. This book would be Stardust by Neil Gaiman, and as you can see from the cover, it's quite a journey. It definitely is. As far as time travel and stuff like that, there's not a whole lot of instance as far as that goes, but it does jump back and forth between different characters and obviously different times. So, fantastic book, and definitely a journey to be taken. Thanks again to Day Devours for tagging me in this. If you haven't already checked out her channel, please be sure to. She's an amazing booktuber with fantastic taste in books and literature. Her link will be down in the description, as well as these people that I'm going to go ahead and tag to do this themselves and post it as a video response. You don't have to, but it'd be awesome if you could, and I don't know if you've already done this tag, but if you haven't, here it is. Don't think only the people that I tag are the only ones who can do this, okay? Anybody can do this book tag, but here's just a few people that I'm going to go ahead and ask to do this. Mr. Richard Denny, Lovely Literatures, and I'm sorry if I pronounced this next one wrong, Home Freiliff, Nikki the Book Nerd, and K Wells 7788. I hope you all enjoyed this book tag, and please be sure to comment, thumbs up, and subscribe. And as always, happy reading.